Hi, it's me again. I want to take you on a little tour and show you all the seedlings I've got growing ready for spring. It is the second week of spring now, so it's starting to get a little bit warmer. The last frost of the year has passed, but there are quite a few seedlings that I've been growing for a few weeks now indoors to give them a head start, and they're nearly ready to go outside. So, hello.
Chloe putting my blue shoes on again.
Chloe, put your blue shoes on again.
Yes.
Oh.
And I don't want her to.
Whoop, with kids. Let me take you for a little look at some of the things they're growing. So in here you will see I have a tomato overload. I started growing my tomatoes quite early this year, well and truly still in winter, because I found a great room inside that got lots of sunlight and stayed quite warm, and so they grew quite beautifully. So if you have a look at the back here, I've got some really strong tomato seedlings. They are sweet 100, so they will produce little cherry tomato type things, hopefully, and there are some large tomato seedlings too. I'm definitely not going to keep all of these tomato plants in my garden. My garden isn't big enough and I don't have the time or energy. But most of these plants will end up getting sold at our Kinder Fun Day, which is like a fundraiser for the Kinder. So you can see down here, I have growing some curled leaf parsley down here, some mint, which has taken forever and it's tiny. This is really interesting because I've never grown mint from seed before. Here we've got some endive, which I'm loving at the moment. It reminds me of France. A whole lot of different little sage seedlings, and again, I won't need more than one or two of those, so the rest will go to kindy and to family and friends. We've got some sunflower seeds here at my son's request. The capsicum plants are growing beautifully. These were all an experiment. I planted a whole lot of seeds from my my mother-in-law's drama. Okay, crisis averted. So what I was saying is that my capsicum plants are doing really, really well. I planted those seeds earlier than I probably should have, again inside, and they're looking really strong as well. So it's probably still a little bit too cold for them to go into the garden. They'd probably be fine, but I think they're just growing a bit better in the greenhouse at the moment, where they're getting a little bit more warmth, because they will thrive apparently when it's warm. Also got some leek at the back there. Leek takes forever to grow, but it's pretty happy in there and I don't have to do much. And I've also got some apple seedlings. This is very much an experiment. They will take a good 5 years before they bear fruit. And because I grew them from seed, I then don't even know if the fruit will taste any good. So I don't know if I'll even keep them to full size. So there we have it. Some of my tomatoes are looking a bit purple. Apparently that means that they need some phosphorus and possibly some calcium. So I've given them a spray today with some fertilizer, and I'm hoping that will help. Oh, at the back here you can also see broccoli seedling, and I think I planted that way too late, so that may never bear me any veggies. Down here, some zucchinis. Now I planted these only a couple of weeks ago and they're growing really quickly. My snow peas, I am loving my snow peas, and I'm so close to getting some fruit or veggies, whatever you call it. Yeah, so these, oh look, oh my god, that is actually my first snow pea. Oh my god, Eddie, come and look at this. Eddie, quick, look. Look at that.
Ooga!
Can you see what that is? Look up close and see what it is. Can you tell me what it is?
Zippy!
That's our first one. I'm so excited about that. That is our very first snow pea. These were super quick to grow. If you want to grow snow peas, do it, because they grow so quickly, and I'm really excited about that. Here I've got some beans growing. They're pretty happy in there. More endive over here. Over here I've got some broccoli growing. I've got mint, which I grew from just some roots which I dug up from the garden, left over from last season. Over here we've got some carrots growing beautifully, which is taking forever, and I'm already wondering if it's worth it because I can buy them for $2 a bag. Over here some beetroot, which is taking a while too. This over here is going to be a new veggie garden. At the moment, however, it only gets around 3 hours sun. The days are pretty quickly starting to get longer, so this weekend we're planning to fill this one up, and then I'll be able to plant some varieties in here. I still don't think it'll ever get more than about 6 hours sun, so we'll probably have to focus on varieties that need less sun than others for this location. The kids are excited. Or going stir crazy. This is my veggie pod behind me. Let me show you what's in here. Silver beet, which I've harvested recently. We've got some flat leaf parsley growing at the back, coriander growing over here, endive, which as I mentioned, I'm loving, some salad, which some lettuce, which has taken quite a while actually. I did plant that from seed. Oh, thank you. You're giving me a bit of banana. Delicious. Delicious. Kids, huh? That can be compost. Now, I've got the radish at the front here. These grew really quickly. Yes, I did just do that. Beautiful little radish, and these leaves are delicious in salads, so don't ever throw out the leaves of lettuces. You can eat those. Yeah. Here I have growing some celery, which I grew from leftovers from the supermarket, and bok choy, and there has been a snail in here eating my bok choy, which I found last night and threw away into a different part of the garden, hoping it won't climb up here again because it's been really demolishing my bok choy. And I'm hoping that it was just the one snail that has made it into my raised bed, because if there's more... Yeah. Is it your turn? Is it your turn to bounce? You sit on your bottom and wait a minute. It'll be your turn in a minute, okay? Alright, finally down over here, more lettuce in the garden, which doesn't tend to survive. We get rats, but I sort of do it as an experiment. And some zucchini down here. And I've got a whole lot more zucchini plants, which are going to go to the kindy fete. Zucchini, zucchini, zucchini. And some other bits and pieces down here. Oh yeah, and some more snow peas, because they're just growing so quickly at the moment. If you've got little kids and you want a fast growing fruit or veg to try, go the snow peas. Super satisfying. So lots of tiny little plants still in their infancy, which I am hoping, hello, climbing, which, okay, that's a nice hug. And in here is where I keep my summer seedlings that are definitely not ready for the great outdoors yet, like watermelon. These ones are actually getting pretty strong, and I started growing them massively in the wrong season, but my son was really keen to grow watermelon, so I thought, well, let's just see what happens. And because this room is so warm, they're growing very happily. I've also got my strawberries in here. Definitely the wrong season for strawberries, and yet here they are. I wasn't expecting anything to happen to these for months. I was expecting them to sit here and grow a bit. That one's a bit gross, but that one looks pretty nicely shaped. And then all of a sudden they just all started fruiting, so you can grow strawberries in with late winter, early spring if you've got a nice indoor space. That being said, they are all a bit deformed and they'll do much better outdoors. But that's been a bit of fun. Down here I've got some more tomato seedlings planted. These are Roma tomatoes, and again I don't need nearly that many, but they will be nice to sell at the kindy fete to raise some money for the kinder. And over here some baby basil. Oh, these have just started to get their first true set of leaves, when they're a bit bigger, they'll all be transplanted into their own little containers. And here, this was an experiment with the seed raising pods, also called peat pellets, some people call it. I actually have a separate video where you can see exactly how these work and whether they're worth using. It's called The Fastest Way to Germinate Seeds, and I'll give you a little tip. This is not the fastest way. I compared a few different methods at the same time because I wanted to see how well they worked, so check that video out if you're interested. And up here I have more tomatoes because I was just curious to see whether they were going to grow better in here or in the greenhouse, and at the moment they're pretty even. So there you have it. Thank you for subscribing if you have already. If you haven't yet, click the subscribe button. That way you'll know when the next video is uploaded. And of course, as the season progresses, I will give you all the updates as to how all my plant babies are growing. Hopefully there'll be plenty more snow peas coming my way.